Hello fellow YouTubers, I'm just making this video to try and help other people that's having the same problem as I am. All of a sudden my house is being overrun by mice or rats or wherever it is, because obviously you hear them scurrying around underneath the floorboards, behind the kitchen units, this and that. And obviously I first started off because I'm an animal lover. I couldn't stand the fact that, you know, you trap these mice and rats with electricity mouse traps, drown them in buckets, and I thought, no, I'll try and catch them in a humane way. So I've bought a couple of different kind of mouse traps to catch them. I've got the conventional cage ones, which is awful to set up, and you've got to try and find out what attracts them. But at the moment, what I've done is, because I've given up because there's so many of them and it's noisy, I'm losing sleep. I'm getting very, very angry with them. So after watching a few other people's videos, you've got to find out how they're getting in the house initially. But this is where I first noticed them. Just in this drawer, there was bits of dry bread, crumbs. I thought, how the hell is bread getting in there? And then eventually, after a bit exploration, I thought, right, they're getting behind the kitchen units, coming through the damp bricks with the holes in. So, and then they're climbing over the top of the back of the units. So they're like little mountain climbers, the little bastards. But for the last few days, I've been trying to work out how they're getting in, where they're going, because they have runs and they go along straight lines. They don't like to be out in the open for any length of period of time. I've had to put cardboard on because I'm backwards and forwards in the garden. It's all wet and mud, so I've just sorted it up. But what I've done is I've made a mix of flour. Where is it here? Flour and bicarbonated soda, baking soda sort of thing. You mix half and half, and you know that they've got a bit of a sweet tooth and all, so if you can add a bit of sugar in there, or they love peanut butter, so you could get lumps of peanut butter, roll it in the mixture, and then just put it anywhere they're gonna go. But I bought the conventional traps there and everything, but they're just so fast. They're so conniving and clever. They get past all the traps. So what I've been doing lately in the kitchen, behind the kickboards, I found out where they're coming over the top. They've been chewing at the top of the kickboards as well to make the gap wider, so they can come through. So obviously they're going around the backs of the cookers, they're going around the backs of the washing machine, and they're coming out this side, and they're going into the gas cupboard where the dog lies, and they've been running behind this door here. So you know, you can see the trails where they've been going. So I've just been getting a thin knife and putting mixtures of flour and flour and baking soda. I've mixed it up in a plastic bucket, so I just keep putting lumps on that, and I slide that between the gap between the cupboard doors in the kitchen and the kickboards where they've been squeezing underneath and coming through, just down here. So that's why you see white powder on the floor, where I've been putting the knife underneath the gap, and then obviously little bits is coming off as I'm scraping along. So that's one of the places that I've been getting in. Another place I've tried is this cupboard as well. So obviously this is where your pipes come in from outside as well. So obviously at the back of underneath your sink, you've got your stopcock tap, and obviously hang on, right. So at the back there, you've got the round hole where the handle is for to turn your water off to the house. So obviously they're getting behind the units and they're running along the back wall, and then they're coming out any hole they can get, and then squeezing underneath the kickboard here, where there's a bit of a gap, and they're climbing over the top of that and just running ragged in the kitchen. And that's where you can hear on the night time when you go to bed, when it's scurrying around. So any gap I can find in the kickboards, I've just been getting that knife and put a load of mix of the flour and baking soda, and just squeeze it in underneath the cupboards there, so it drops on the other side of the kickboards, as you can see, in all the places where there's gaps. I mean, obviously I would have to go as far as pulling out my cooker, which I can't do because it's heavy, and the same as the washing machine. That's a bloody heavy thing to move. And obviously once you've got it settled and it doesn't bounce around when it spins, you don't really want to move it. So I've gone for the other option of just spreading this flour and mix of baking soda And I've been outside to find out how they're getting in the house. That's one of the important things. So I had me portable generator in this box on these wheels, as you can see, and it was just here above the manhole cover. And I've noticed a big hole in the soil here. We have packed it with bricks and filled it in, and there's a gap between the garden stones and the concrete pathway here. So obviously they're using that as to hide and scurry along. So there was a big hole there where those two bricks I packed them in, and there was a massive hole here. I've getting a full house brick in there and kicked it down. So obviously they're going underneath this concrete path. And another place where they're getting in obviously is I've covered it over at the moment with the two bricks there, one and stood on top of the other. But that's the damp bricks, so you've got them to contend with. So go around your house and have a look for any tiny, even the tiniest hole, block it up with expanding foam or wherever. But one thing they don't like is wire wool, so if you can get some wire wool, pack it in there, and they'll not chew at it and pull it. And the other place, in my porchway here, because I can hear them scurrying around in the firebrest wall here, which is this one. So obviously they're getting in here through the damp bricks and going along, and then eventually what they'll do is start climbing up pipes to this and that, go up into your loft. So you'll never get to sleep then when you hear them scurrying around back of your head. So because of desperation stake, and I'm tired and I'm sick to death of them, I've just, instead of trying to trap them, catch them humanely, I'm just going all out war now and just putting poison down. But the thing is, when the dog comes, I don't want him getting hold of this mix that I'm doing, because it'll affect the dog and any other animals that might come into your house. So this is another reason why I've opted for this mix. And where I'm putting it, the dog can't get anywhere near sniffing when he goes along sniffing in the kitchen, because it's the back of the board. And then obviously I'll be wiping that up and brushing it up and getting a damp cloth and just completely clean it off the floor when the dog's due to come over and stay, which is normally on a Saturday night and a Sunday. So I'll just make sure there's nothing on the floor that'll make him ill if he digests it. So I just thought I'd make that quick video just to show you what I'm up against and what I've been doing to try and combat it. So yes, I've bought conventional mouse tracks which don't really work well, but I haven't tried the peanut butter yet. But setting these bloody things up now is awkward as hell. But there's your hook. So you're supposed to hook something on there, so when they go in, they tug on the hook and it releases the spring-loaded gate there and traps them in. And these ones you just put poison in the back of them and you shut them and they clip shut. And there's only a hole big enough for them, let them go in the sides and into the middle and take the bait. But no, I've just sick to death of them, and there's too many of them. They breed like wildfire, so I've just taken drastic measures to poison them so they're gone back into the garden and eventually they'll die. And then other things like cats and foxes and all, they'll take them away when they see them. But I've just shifted my big box there on wheels so I can get to the hole that I had dug a big hole here where I filled it in with a couple of house bricks and then filled it in with smaller bits around it so they can't get back through again. And I found that obviously they make nests on where it's dry and maybe warm. So obviously, because that box was over the top of this manhole cover, it was dry, and they could scurry around the back of it without being seen by predators. So that's another thing they do. They look for places where they can hide away from predators. So initially they would have been in my neighbour's bit of a shed that she had on the end of a greenhouse, but she's knocked it all down. So obviously that's what's unsettled them, and they've started to look for another place to go from the fountains under there probably. So I'm just looking for ways to do away with them altogether. So the other thing is combating them inside the house as well, but you can also combat them outside the house. So if you get little plastic containers with a sealable lid and put a hole in the side, just a little hole enough for the mouse to get in, and put the mix of flour and bicarbonated soda and peanut butter or whatever, because I love that, the crunchy stuff especially, and then just let them go in and out the plastic and eat that, so to stay outside the house. And then 3 or 4 days later they die. So basically you're cutting down the pack of them, because there's thousands of them. You can't keep up with them. So that's how I spent my day, just filling in holes and looking around my house to see where they're getting in. But I mean, obviously it's things like your garden sheds that they find, compost heaps, anything where they can be dry and warm for the young ones to make their nests, and they breed like wildfire. So I'm just busy cutting back all this trees and bushes around the top of my garden and all to put my new metal shed here. I'm building a metal shed so they kind of chew the wood, and like a normal conventional one, that just rot. And any places like this where there's gaps there, they just burrow under there and make their nests, and put, you know, their young's just born, and they never stop. It's just on and on and on and on. Right, so I hope that'll help other people. Help to look for around your house to find out where they're getting in, where they're breeding, where they're making their nests, and how you can combat it. Like I say, I'm a humane person. I love dogs, cats, I love all animals. But when it's affecting my life, where I can't get to sleep, they start around about 10 o'clock at night when it's dark, and I can hear them scurrying around while I'm lying on the settee watching me big screen TV there on the wall in the sitting room. And then it stops for a while, and then I'll go upstairs to bed about midnight, and then the next thing you know, you hear scurrying all around in my bedroom, where they're scurrying around down here, climbing over things and looking for food. So that's how loud it is, because I hear them upstairs. Right, so when it affects your health and you're not getting to sleep and you're just getting very, very vexed and angry, that's why I've taken the drastic step of poison the bastards and kill them off. Right, so I hope that this video helps you. So bye for now.